Welcome to episode 3 of Naughty Fun Learning Time with Paul Mackinnon, current physical education lead for Anglophone School District North, aka Uncle Paulie. Is my handle for the adventure-based company I've been a part of for over a decade now. The studio I was utilizing has since been relegated to the garage, hence the tarp, the couch, and the atmosphere I'm trying to achieve in here. Moving forward, this is probably going to be our new home, but I do hope to showcase many more of these knots outdoors. When we launched episode 1, the overhand knot was showcased. In episode 2, we explored what could be done when we bring two overhands together. First, we looked at the fisherman's knot, creating one continuous piece of cordage, or seemingly. We also put together the fisherman's eye, bringing together nestling the two overhand knots there.
Then we
took it one step further with the double fisherman's knot. It's featured here on my t-shirt.
This is a double fisherman's.
In episode 3, we're going to begin with the overhand knot and taking it in another direction. You will be equipped with a mighty arrow in your quiver. By far, the Lariat Loop, simple, reliable, and adjustable, is one of my favorite knots, and most people are unaware of it. First encountered the Lariat Loop by chance, working at a camp in Michigan as well. I was completing my education degree. I was commissioned to clean out an old storage room, and on a shelf, this essentially was a card. This is a photocopy representation, 40 knots, visual aid for knot tying. But I do recall the card was nestled between two jars, cloudy, long since expired, and I immediately regretted opening what turned out to be pig fetuses. It was not a pretty smell. But anyway, I digress. Apart from sharing it with students and colleagues, I had never seen the Lariat Loop elsewhere since then. It was featured here in Tom Brown's Field Guide to Wilderness Survival. This is a great manual, explores many topics in depth. However, he only provides a slim collection of knots. But what I found spoke volumes was the fact that the Lariat Loop is the very first knot featured. So a few months after having discovered it in Tom Brown's manual, I had decided to open that Pandora's box of Pinterest, and the very card that I had picked up in the 90s in Michigan turned up as one of my Pinterest pins. Well, that's enough talk already about the Lariat Loop and my adventures with it. Let's figure out how to tie it. So, as I said, you're going to start with an overhand knot. But the orientation of this overhand is very specific to have the Lariat Loop come through successfully. So start with the cordage in my left hand. I'm going to bring the working end up and over, truly making overhand by crossing over the top, forming a loop. Then I'm going to take the working end and simply tuck it inside for my overhand. I'm going to give myself a little more slack here though. So, a fair amount of slack. Beyond the overhand is where the loop portion is going to be for the Lariat Loop. You're going to bring the working end up, and where the overhand itself creates that crossing, that X, you're going to poke the working end, the nub of the working end, between the two strands of that X, and lay the working end across the hole. Do not go into the hole that you created by making the overhand, but lay across it. Essentially, the knot is complete at this point, apart from shoring it up. So basically, you're going to clutch on the outside of this loop you created for the Lariat Loop and advance the back strand or the back loop of the overhand to basically pull on the standing part. Now you have a very simple knot achieved here, but the beauty of it, you can pull with considerable force and it will not slip as long as it's an opposing force from your standing part. So this does make a great knot for perhaps looping over a trailer hitch ball or something in a quick pitch. You're going to have some direct force to maybe pull something out. But the beauty of it is the fact that it's simply adjustable. Pull all you want, hard as you can, adjust it again, pull hard again. Very reliable, very simple, and has multiple applications. I've had students utilize this for snugging around a water bottle. They didn't have a clip on their water bottle, hang this off their pack, and it holds. Okay, I'm going to take you through the Lariat Loop one more time, and although it is simple, but I'm going to show you an analogy that might help you remember it, and I usually use this with students, show them how to tie it with this analogy. So I'm going to start back from scratch. So essentially, I have them hang a considerable amount of slack in their left hand. And kind of looks like the trunk of an elephant, if you will. So the elephant is going to come up and spray out, maybe over his back, but lay the trunk up across his back. Okay? Then you're going to take the trunk, pass it into his mouth, and let it droop again. So there's the working end, or the end of the trunk. The trunk's gonna, maybe it grabs a peanut, it's gonna come up and feed itself. Split the X, lay across the hole, and again, snugging it up by pulling on the standing part and the opposite loop. This time I made it considerably smaller, a lot less slack to work with, however, still achieved. It's very important though that you do not skip the step of laying across the hole, otherwise the knot will be compromised and it will simply slip. Of the Lariat Loop this time, through the two spans of wicker, split the X and lay across the hole, pulling on the standing part, and it's a great way to showcase the strength of the Lariat Loop. I challenge you to find some uses for this knot, the Lariat Loop, and show it to people. It's almost a lost knot, if you will. Like I said, I've yet to see it. I've known many people that love knots as much as I do, and most have not seen it, and I stumbled across it by accident. So might as well show it.